The next verse, it says that money and children are the beauty of this life, or the adornments of this life. This is what are the good things of this life. Money and children. In Arabic, al-mal wal-banuna zinatul hayat ad-dunya. And I've heard many people, they say, God says that money and children are the adornment of this life. I have lots of children. Where is the money? So, but generally, money and children are adorning, are the beauties or the adornment of this life. And then the rest of the verse says, however, the eternal righteous works, or baqiyatu salihat in Arabic, that the righteous works that last forever, we're talking about the real person here, are far better for you. So money and children and properties in this world, they are the good things in this life. And God tells us what is better than that. Like I mentioned in the last khutbah, worshiping God alone and nourishing your real person, the Quran says, is much better than owning everything on this earth and twice as much. All the real estate in Vancouver and New York, all the real estate in the whole world, all the oil, the gold, the diamonds, believing in God alone and feeding, nourishing your real person is much better. When you have the right perspective, is much better than owning everything on earth and twice as much. So this verse 46 of Surah 18 says, money and children are the beauties or the good things of this world, but the righteous works that last forever are far better and provide better hope. وَخَيْرٌ أَمَلًا. The end of the verse is خَيْرٌ أَمَلًا. There is better hope in them. There is no hope in the properties. Rock Hudson was very famous and very rich. George Liberati's mansion, still you can go as a tourist and look at it. But he's not there. Because there is something better that he could have acquired. That is righteous works. And developing his soul in order to withstand life next to God in the hereafter. If he didn't develop his soul, he will not stand being close to God. And the verse 47 says, because the day will come when we remove the mountains and you see the earth barren, everything will go. And then we will gather every single one. The Arabic says, فَلَمْ نُغَادِرْ مِنْهُمْ أَحَدًا. We will not leave a single person. God says we're going to gather everybody for this reckoning. How much did you do for this vanishing garment? How much did you do for yourself? The reckoning is going to be automatic. But every single one will come to account. The next verses go on and describe why the righteous works and feeding your soul is the number one priority. That when you do anything else, it's a waste of time. Anything else that does not develop your soul is a waste of time. And missing a Friday prayer, I'm missing this because you're all here. When you miss a Friday prayer for any reason, it's a terrible, terrible loss. Because being once a week, a congregational prayer which you meet your brothers and sisters, and it's a commandment from God to do this. When you miss it, you miss a lot. I mean, I cannot put it in billions of dollars. We have to we always remember the right perspective. And the advice in Quran is to commemorate God 24 hours a day. Every chance you get, you can turn your work into worship. I'm going to read some material and some kind of a quiz. I want you to find out, to think where it is from, okay? Every addition or omission of a word or even of a single letter from the sacred text of the prayers destroys the religious meaning of the prayer as a whole and is to be regarded as a grave sin. A sin which could result in eternal exile for those who commit it. Remember, there are certain statements in the Quran that says, وَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. Woe to those who are doing their prayer. I mean, those are people who are doing their prayer, but they end up in the negative because they are heedless of their prayers or because there are other reasons. So you must make sure that your prayer is perfect. Your salat, your contact, I'm not talking about supplications. I'm talking about your contact prayers. It is a recognized statement in Quran, وَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. Woe to those who are doing their salat prayer, الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَهُونَ, who are heedless of their prayers. They are not aware or they are neglecting something. Let me read this again. And I wanted to apply it to our contact prayer here. See, Barry is visiting us for the first time and he will wonder, why do we do the prayer in Arabic? And why this particular prayer, for example? And all of us ask this question. In fact, it's going to come up. So let me read this again. Every addition or omission of a word or even a single letter. Now, we in this mosque fully appreciate the mathematical composition of everything that's connected with our worships. The Quran, and even the bones in our body and everything else. So we should appreciate what is written here. Every addition or omission of a word or even of a single letter from the sacred text. Al-Fatiha is the sacred text that God gave us. The first surah of Quran. We cannot add anything to it. As you know, Satan succeeded everywhere in the Muslim world. They add the word Ameen. And our people in Washington, D.C. have a radio program, and I have one of the tapes here talking about this Ameen. And they got it from the dictionary, some recognized dictionary, and they read what Ameen is. It turns out to be an old Hebrew, Greek, something word that has nothing to do with Arabic. It is not in the Quran. But here, this is why Satan tricked the people into adding it. Every addition or omission of a word or even a single letter from the sacred text of the prayers destroys the religious meaning of the prayer as a whole and is to be regarded as a grave sin. So here is a person doing the prayer, committing a grave sin.